Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Don't depends on your locations. And thank you for coming in and having the time to watch this video, no matter where you are right now. When you be seeing this video, I hope it will improve your knowledge base, on our social and political issues that we're concerned about on this platform. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've if you've been a member on this platform and you subscribe already, thank you for watching over and over again and not getting tired and bored because sometimes we have to bring the stories as they come, even when we feel that some of them are quite exciting, then some of them can as well be very discomfort to our likings. But somehow we still have to find a way to, you know, give it out to the public because if we don't, somebody else will still bring it out, to your own hearing. So we don't colorate things the way they come. We present them the way they are originally. We don't try to, try to turn into some form of another entertainment that is not there. So we present you entertainment as it is presented originally in its original form. So, but when there's no entertainment, we don't generate entertainment from nowhere because it's not a comedy platform. So this is normally you know, entertainment and news platform. So if the entertainment is positive, it's positive. If it's negative, then so it is. So, but we always pray to have the positive ones to brighten up our days. So somehow we always try to, bring in some fusions by taking some here, some here, and make sure that at the end of the day, then you'll be very, very comfortable, and you understand and be well informed, the way you should. So that's the point. So, but on today, so I would like to say, for those who are just watching without signing in, please do so because while you do so, you are helping this channel to grow. Because every other channel that you see that now have a million followers and things like that, once started like this, so it's all about consistency and persistency. So here we are not going anywhere, not now, not in the future. So we are staying on and we are trying to improve what we are doing. So if you are one of those who have been with us from the beginning, so please keep keep supporting this platform, making us to grow, in strength and in every other areas that we need growth and support it. So please that is it. So if you just watching with us and you please try and do so, subscribe now by pressing the subscription button and also press the notification bell so that whenever we come on live or we have some new features or some new videos, then you will be the first to get it, you know. So that is what it's all about. Please always remember to drop in your comments because your comments also are very, very valuable and important to our growth because they contribute, to all of these things. So these are the things that the platform YouTube YouTube on its own see, you know, and uses that to, you know, to, to promote or to kind of recommend the videos for others to as well see. So if you can as well share the videos, that will be also very, very, very much helpful. So I thank you all for coming by. So whenever you see this video, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe if you've not. So that is what it's about. So, but today we have some very simple issues to touch on. So let me take it from here and and go like this. He said, prefer knowledge to wealth. For one is transitory and the other is perpetual. So it's all about greedy people in life, whether politicians or adults or even elders or, you know, businessmen, women, boys and girls, students, etc. Because, for example, let me start with the children. Because the children, there's a particular age that the children will get to. Why they are getting knowledge from schools. Why they are getting knowledge from schools or from their teachers or from their classrooms. They also get knowledge from the street or from their classmates or their schoolmates or their playmates, whether in the sports center or on the street side or in the area where they live or or within the society from things that they see. So don't think that the things that you see as a father or a mother, that the children don't see them on the street. We see people driving big cars and things like that, you know, all around, and you wish you were having that opportunity to drive that big, machine. You understand me? Like Rolls Royce, you know, Phantom, and whatever, Ferrari, Bugatti, and all those big names that you are hearing, McLaren, etc., etc., etc. There are a whole lot these days. In fact, you can even customize your own and call it by your own name, Abori J. So it doesn't really matter. So what matters is the big machines that they are driving. So why others also are now having some little private jets that they can fly in and land in anywhere, in any little field, which means they can take off from anywhere as well, just like having the ones that are converted to a car that you can equally park in your garage and also be reconvert, you know, to be a flying plane and to fly out right from your garage. So the world, the life has been made so easy actually when you have money. So if you don't want to see, if you don't want to know your your burgomaster, you know, if you really want to see your burgomaster, let's say once in a year, you can make that happen. You can make that possible. Talk less of you don't want to see your other neighbors, you know, uh, on a daily basis and things like that. You can as well have a big landscape, etc. And have your own feed where you can land your flight or your little car and you drive it as a car straight into your garage and you walk into your building and that is it because you're already in your property. So you see those who you want to see. So maybe you fly from there to your factory or to your office and things like that. You land on top of the building, or you also land there where you can also park your car also in the garage. Then when you want to leave again, then you open the car wings, and bring out the wings, and you fly out like a bird. All these things are made possible because of what? Because of money, right? So, but this topic is trying to tell you that money is not everything. That knowledge is the real power or actual power that's more than wealth. And overall, that money is nothing as compared to wealth. Govern that knowledge govern wealth and not the other way around. So prefer knowledge to wealth. For one is transitory and the other is perpetual. You get what I mean? So the suggestion is that knowledge is a more valuable asset than wealth because knowledge is permanent, while wealth is temporary. You get to the point. money is temporary. Nobody is saying that money is not good. Money is good. Money answereth all things according to what the Bible says, that money answereth to all things. Because anything you actually want or you want to buy, if you have money, you buy them. Even with money, you can buy knowledge as well, but to a certain extent. Because with your money, for example, if you want to buy knowledge, you are going to someone who has already acquired knowledge, even without money or without much money, to try to train you until you start to understand those things that he takes for granted because he has already known them because he passed through the actual process. So you coming from nowhere because you don't have money and you say, oh, please, I want to be a doctor. Please, can you train me to be a doctor? Of course, he can't train you. Maybe where it's supposed to take you 5 years to be a doctor, to become a doctor, then because you really need it so badly, and I really want to impress, then this time around maybe it take you even up to 10 years. So that means the hours that it's supposed to take you, maybe from the age of let's say 16 to 20 or 22, for example, if you were to go to medical school and things like that. So now it's going to take you more years because your brain is not as relaxed as it was then, because then you was less burdened by so many things while you was young, because you have the time to think straight, think clearly if you actually want to concentrate on your studies. So, but now if you're an old, if you've become old already, let's say you're at the age of 30, you already have a child, or you already have children, or you already have a wife, you now have more responsibility of your own because you're paying for anywhere you live. Maybe you're paying for your car park. Maybe you are paying for the garden, for the maintenance of the garden. Maybe you're even paying for your cook and pay for all sorts of things, utilities, lift, water bill, light bills, and all kinds of bills here and there. It all depends on the kind of life that you are living at that time. And now you now realize that you missed something because all of a sudden you find yourself being a nurse, and you start to ask yourself, how did I get here? Why didn't I, you know, just become a doctor? Because you are now working with a doctor, for example, or you are working with an engineer under the engineer as a temporary worker, and you seem to know this guy before, maybe back in the days, at school, and you know that you was smarter than this guy, whether in physics or in mathematics or in chemistry. You used to be better than him, but suddenly he's an engineer, and you are working under him. Then you might start to reflect back. How did he get to this position? And why am I working under this guy as a nurse, for example? So, sorry. So this might trigger something in you to want to make you work harder, either to start taking some extra classes, because maybe he has already told you the secret of his success, that yes, I remember, back in the days, you used to teach me this and this and this and that, but what happened to you? They start to say, yeah, I think I was carried away, with the kind of friends I was making then and stuff like that and things like that. Then you say, well, I think you can still make it. So do you have your biology? You say yes. You have your physics? You say yes. You have your chemistry? You say yes. You say, then what's stopping you? Or you say you don't have your chemistry? You say, even if you don't have your chemistry, you can take some extra classes. This is the process you have to go through. Go to some person and ask. Then you start to ask, and the person start to tell you, yes, it's possible. You can still do it if you do this, if you do that. Then from there, you start to pick up. So if, for example, now you now realize your mistakes that you're supposed to, things that you're supposed to do when you were 16, 17, 18, and now you want to redo them at the age of 30 just because you want to meet up and upgrade your salary and live a better life. It's possible. then you start to pursue those things. So at the end of the day, you have already lost another kind of, let's say, 14, 15 years out of your whole lifespan doing absolutely rubbish as compared to what you actually want now. So you see, that knowledge, because they said there's one say that say, if you think, if you think education is expensive, say try ignorance. As if you think education is so expensive or is difficult, try ignorance. Try being mumu. Try being a fool. So you have to choose between the two. Do you want to be intelligent? You have to work for it. Do you want to be a fool? You don't have to do anything. So if you think education is expensive, write it down if you like, or you can rewind it and play it later. If you think education is so expensive, why don't you try be ignorant or try ignorance? Then you see the difference. So because you take your knowledge anywhere you go, and your knowledge go with you anywhere you go, it will never depart from you. So that's what this case is about. So every other thing that I'm trying to, try to compare here is, it's relative to this. Do you understand what I mean? Money can be gained and can be lost. It all depends on the economic conditions, investments, or every other factors, that has to go with it. Do you understand me? So wealth or money can be subject to external factors such as inflation, taxation, and market fluctuations, which can erode its value over time. Because these things can affect your money, can affect your wealth, can affect your standard of living. Simple things: inflation, taxation from the belasted agents or from the tax office, and the market fluctuations. It all depends on what is going on in the market also. If, for example, you have just $1 million, and this $1 million has been, it's the money that you always reserve to take care of yourself, within a space of time, let's say a year, because you are so rich. So you withdraw some of this cash and you put them in some special account. That is where you spend with your credit card, everything, all your shoppings and stuff like that. So if you already, have that kind of budget as to how much you are going to spend in that year, and all of a sudden, a new year came, the things you used to buy for €1 now become €2. The gasoline you used to buy for, let's say, €100 a month now become €200 a month. What do you think will happen to that $1 million, €1 million? Which means you'll be spending double that amount of money. Which means if that $1 million is the only money that you have available to you in your let's say on all of your life, then which means overnight that person will become a very poor person. Except that person readjust. As soon as that person saw the handwritings on the wall, you just say, "Hey, wow, what is going on here?" Then you have to readjust your taste. So where you used to buy things for €1, now you now know that it's €2. Then you be buying things for at least maybe 50 cents. So where you used to buy one special spaghetti, for €2, then you be look for the one of 50 cents. If you are wise, you don't even have to look for the one of €1. That's that time. So that is the only way you can manage within this time and scale through and watch the economic circumstances again improve. Then once the market again pick up again and things start to regulate itself, then you regulate yourself. But if you still say yes, you still want to maintain that lifestyle and things like that, so you'll be surprised what will happen to you in another 2 or 3 years from that moment on. So that is why you see some people, especially back in some climes. I don't want to mention countries. In some climes, when you when we were young, sorry, when we were so young, we used to see some people they were so rich. You say, these people they are so rich. He has a lot of cars and stuff like that. Then the next thing you start to see, the person start to go down and down and down and down and down and down, and things just scrap. Then they start to blame all kinds of, you know, all kinds of superstitious belief that maybe his enemies are coming from the village, or it's coming from his family, or it's coming from among his group of friends and things like that. And that same moment, you see some other people within that same society, then they pick up, then they become wealthy. You start to wonder what happened. So it all depends on the opportunity. I'm not saying that the people are not smart, you know, that was the reason that that the economic this thing go down. I'm saying that it might be one of the factors that contributes. I mean, or contributed to that. Because some people were just living like back the days, thinking that this year will just be like next year will just be like the other year, etc., etc., etc. No, but sometimes you have to be an expert to know all these things. But sometimes you don't really have to be an expert to know. But it's not everyone that is actually, in the know in all of this. So in many cases, wealth is transitory because it can be gained or lost depending on the economic conditions, investments, like I said, and other factors. On the other hand, knowledge is a more stable and enduring asset because once it is acquired, it can be applied and developed over over a lifetime, over a long period of time. So, but knowledge also can help anybody or individuals to create and sustain wealth. So knowledge can help you, to make money. You know, because it can help you to make some certain decisions that will make you to identify some opportunities and adapt to changing circumstances. You see what I'm talking about? So you have to know when to change, when to adjust. So it's when you have that knowledge, that's when you'll be able to do that. So it applies to children, like I said before, it also applies to adults. It applies to businessmen, business owners, it applies to everyone. That's why when we were young those days, we used to say that teachers used to measure tubers of yam. When they want to start to abuse the civil servants, they say civil servants are always measuring tubers of yam, with a tape rule or with a ruler in centimeters. So I don't know if that was true because my grandfather was a teacher or a headmaster. So that's on my mother's side. So, but I don't know how truthful that was. I also have so many uncles who were teachers before they became professionals. So maybe I would have asked them, but I don't think there's anything there to ask. So I also have an auntie who was a teacher, of course. So I came from a family of teachers, here and there, etc., etc. So many uncles, aunties, etc. So that's what this is about. So what it's about is that if that was even true, that the teachers, because after all, teachers were considered to be the knowledge base of the society, whether it's a primary school teacher or it's a secondary school teacher. Teachers are teachers, right? So they have that foundation that they trained the children upon that later becomes the doctors and the engineers, the lawyers, and the public workers, you know, our public servants and what have you. So what that entails also is that knowledge, you need that knowledge to apply it as at when due, to adjust in any situation or, or conditions that you find yourself. Can you imagine that recently, before the election, you remember what happened in Nigeria, for example, when all of a sudden they said the central bank printed some trillions of naira and gave it to the federal government. But yet, the federal government withheld this money, and there was scarcity of funds in Nigeria. A lot of people thought that it was going to be, be the end of the world. They used it to strangulate the public for their own selfish reasons, of course. That was how a lot of people saw it, or a lot of people. That's what a lot of people read to it, because in Nigeria, where they normally bribe or use money to buy votes, so when the money became so scarce, where they're supposed to spend 5,000 naira, they were spending even 500 naira, because if you go to the bank will not even disperse anything. You were not dispersing cash. The ATM was not dispersing cash. So how will you, or how would you have expected these people to live or survive, at these hard times? They have money, but their monies were withheld from them by the authorities that be, or the power that be, as at that time. Then at the point, then they started giving us some minimum, you know, dispatch, to people. Let's assume a family of 10, you are dispatching 5,000 naira to them. But you know that 5,000 naira cannot buy anything from the market. So a lot of people resorted to trade by barter. Oh, you want salt, I have yam, or you want yam, I have a plantain, and things like that. So you can imagine that was how Africa used to live about 100 years ago. Then all of a sudden, trade by barter just resonate again, and they started doing it again all over again. So that is to tell you how the human species can adjust to situations sometimes and to survive that very hardship. So that is it. So knowledge is not limited to any specific domain or time period. It can be acquired and shared across generations, and its value only increases with time. You see that? So knowledge is not limited to any specific domain or time period. So I mean, knowledge can last for a lifetime. So what this is all about? It's all about telling you that money, 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 money. Life is not always about all these material things and stuff. That knowledge is everything, especially when you still have the time to study and acquire that knowledge. Because once you acquire the knowledge, it will stay with you for life, forever. Because there are some people today now, if you ask them to write, they can speak their language very well, whether it's English or Dutch or whatever. If we're born in those English countries, or we're born in Dutch country, whether in Deutschland or in Netherlands, or etc. Or if we're born in Spain, and they are Spanish, they are Dutch, they are German, they are English, but they just can't write the language. They can't write it, or they can't read it, but they can speak it very well. You think it's not possible? Yeah, try and do your research. A whole lot, you know. It's none of their fault. I'm not saying it's their fault, but I'm saying that if that can happen to anyone who can't even speak, read or write his own language, you know, then what do you think will happen to someone who is not even from that same clime originally? But yet, he took the pen and time to read and to study that language. We're talking of just language now, because language is everything. If you don't understand Japanese, how can you study in Japan? Which means you can only have some few options where to study. So if only you speak English, for example, then you'll be looking for an English school. But supposing you don't even speak English, you don't speak Japanese, and you don't speak any other distance, you speak your local language from Africa and stuff like that. Let's say Isha or Edo language or Yoruba language and Isuku and Yoruba, Igbos and Hausa, like BBO, TV, etc., etc. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in a country like Japan or Australia, and you want to study. How do you study? First, you have to go and learn their language because that's what's available. You have teachers in Japanese, or is it in China? They have teachers in China or in Chinese. So that's what's about because our government, from right from day one, they were not centered on training our children or training us, with our languages. They were so carried away with foreign languages because this colonial mentality that was put into them, as at then, they wanted to put it in us, or in fact, they tried to brainwash us to the extent that even if you speak your local dialect or your local language in the classroom, then you'll be punished. So can't you see that was done by design because the white people or the so-called British people then that came to colonize Nigeria, for example, they had their own purpose. So you speaking your language make them very nervous. So that's why, because you made them nervous because they don't know what you are planning, whether you are planning to slaughter their slaughter them, in their sleep, and what have you, and things like that. So you were so scared. You can just imagine that, you know. So for that, then they came in with so many things, trying to dissuade us from speaking our languages, trying to destroy our culture, our cultural values and our beliefs, that's our belief system, etc. That was all they were doing. Night and day, they were not sleeping. They were always thinking. We were having high blood pressure for nothing. Some of them were being killed by mosquitoes and yellow fever and things like that. And they thought it was some magical power that was killing them. So that is where it has taken us to. Because even now, as you can see, the more English you speak, that's why they say Mugabe, they so rest in peace. He said, Africa, in Africa, he said we learn, they teach us to speak good English. We can speak good English. I don't know how he put it anymore. He said, yeah, we can speak good English. He said, but yet, um, we don't have, how do you say, we don't have a farm. We don't have a good farm. So what have you? you know, yes, we don't have a good farm produce, or we don't have agriculturists because they don't teach you agriculture in most of the schools. As the basic, I'm talking about the basic education now. I'm talking about like primary school and things like that, and secondary school. They don't teach you the basic things of life. For example, how to cultivate, you know, how to go to the farm, how to plant, and how to harvest, and things like that. No, they don't teach you that. They don't teach you about the sample of the soils and on how to use you know, or how to know, the best part of the soil, to plant, or how to transfer some best part of the soil, to a planting area, so that you can your harvest can yield a much more you can yield a much more harvest. Have a very good season, or a very good harvest. No, rather is the amount of English and grammar that you speak. If you go to the churches, it's the same thing. The teacher, the the so-called pastors also take it to another level by speaking big grammars in a church where 90% of the people actually don't even understand those grammars. It would be better if you speak their own language or their local dialect for them. Then they will understand what you're talking about. But they just go there to see that fancy pastor with his fancy suit speaking grammar and things like that. So a lot of people enjoy that, of course, which is maybe the young ones, then they'll be there like, yeah, because they can understand what they're saying, because they've been brainwashed as well from their schools and stuff. So in order for them to belong, also they are working under the pastors and things like that. So they play along. But what about the little children and their mothers and their great grandmothers and all the old people who are there in the church and things like that? So what we are saying is that knowledge is perpetual, it's eternity, it lasts forever. But it doesn't mean that knowledge can only be acquired through education. That's another thing you have to know. But anyway, you can say through education. Of course, when you say through education, it doesn't mean that it has to be acquired through classrooms only. You can also acquire knowledge through other broader form of education. Education can also mean by you, for example, and if you are the type who live maybe in the bush area and things like that, you like to observe plants, you know the difference between all the plants and things like that, and you take samples of all these plants, and you know all these plants even more than the biologist. So that is why back in the days we used to have herbalists. Herbalists are those people who knows the herb. They know the leaves in the bushes, and they know what they kill, what they what they are used for, because they were taught by their great grandfather, their great grandmothers, and that one teach another one, another one, another one, another one, and the knowledge continues. Even before the white people came, we used to have medicines. We used to take care of ourselves on so many occasions. So people were not dying en mass like you have the Spanish flu in Europe and things like that. Africa never have any kind of flu like that. There was nothing like African flu or Nigerian flu or whatever flu. Every other sicknesses that has come to Africa so far have been brought in by the Europeans. Call it Ebola, HIV, and whatever. They were all brought by the Europeans because they came in there, trying to do all kinds of experiments, with the monkeys in the bushes, because they thought that the African people were so uh, into monkeys and and things like that, or animals, because they were eating animals and stuff like that. So they were using all these things as experiments, and we were poisoning these things with all kinds of infections and things like that. Then all of a sudden, in some areas, then those things start to get transferred, to the humans, because there are some areas in Africa, for example, where they don't kill monkeys. And those monkeys come into the communities and start to live among the people. Either maybe you put some fruit outside and things like that, and they come with their this thing and they grab some, or they touch some, or they buy some and stuff like that. Imagine if a child just go and then grab one mango and stuff without washing, and you start to eat, not knowing that the monkey has already touches that this thing, and then definitely that thing will be transmitted, to into the other human stuff. So the same thing happens to maybe all the place that they put outside and things like that, or clothes that they put outside, so many things like that. So that was how this whole thing happened. And some of these things also, they go to the bushes or to the farm, and they play around with all kinds of food that has been harvested, you know, and put in a band like this yam band and things like that. So and they fed these things, and the people eat, and they get diseases. But before the white people came, there was nothing like this. So Africa was just fine, you know. So that is it. So we are not saying this thing out of without proof. There are proofs, you know, to all of these things. So, but whatever it is, God has already redeemed us, you know, in so many ways. Because if we have to go into details about what has happened in the past and things like that, you know, there are times to do that. But on this very topic, so we are talking about, you know, the advantage of getting wet as above getting knowledge as above getting wet. You know, wet is good only if that wet is used to acquire knowledge, right? Because wet is only temporary, but knowledge is everlasting. Knowledge is everlasting. Those is perpetual. So don't forget that. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming by. So if you've not subscribed and if you really enjoy these things, this session, please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you've not done that. And please try and share, you know, so that others will have the opportunity to see this video and circulate it around. Let it go viral. Thank you very much and God bless you. See you soon. Bye.